Episode 4 of the What's Cookin' podcast. Today, I take you guys through a timeline of all the technology I've owned over the years. I think this was a really cool experience to go through these. You guys might enjoy it. Time cards are in the description as always. Here we go! What's cooking, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me. We are back with episode 4, a fun topic to share with you guys today. You know I'm interested in technology. You know I've had a lot of different devices over the years. I'm excited to go through the timeline of all the technology I've had, starting back when I was a wee young lad all the way up to present day. We're going to break it down all the way through. But before we get into that, I have 2 things I want to share with you to start us off. Number 1 is a little self-improvement piece. You guys know, if you listen to episode 1, the reason behind me making this podcast is I want to become a better speaker. I want to get better at communicating. I want to have conversations with other people that lead to interesting content, and that's the main objective. So I listened back to episode 3, and something I noticed pretty quickly is that I was saying and quite a bit during the episode. When I'm thinking about the next thing to say, I usually bridge the gap with a little or a and that can get really annoying for the listeners. So today I'm going to do the best job that I can to cut that out for you guys. No no uhs today. That's the goal, that's the plan. I'm going to plan on that, and we're going to try to stick to it. I don't think I'm going to make it all the way through without that, but I'm going to do the best I can. I want to get better. That's the first step for me. Second thing on the agenda, I have a little story for you guys. This could even be a recurring theme going forward. I could name it something like Ballin on a Budget if I wanted to. If you guys know me, you probably know I consider myself a budget shopper. I'm always looking for a good deal. I might have gotten this from my mom. She was always looking out for the best prices. Also, my grandma was always a huge garage sale person. She was always on the lookout for some of the best deals she could find, and had a great amount of storage items over the years that she collected. But the story I have today is a collection of 3 different items that were assembled and put together for a cost of $0. So let's get into it. So I lived at a certain apartment in Iowa City for 2 years. I was usually the one among my roommates that took out the trash the most, I think. It's not that I was assigned this task, it's just happened that I noticed this quite a bit, that the garbage would be full, so I just wanted to get it out of the way and take it out. But I was taking the trash down one time to the dumpster where we have it in our garage in our apartment building, and I was about to chuck the bag. I usually chuck the garbage bag from behind a certain speed bump in the garage. It's probably like 15 feet away, and I just absolutely launch it full send, see if I can make it in the garbage bin. But before I did that this time, I noticed something strange next to the dumpster. I look over there, I get closer. I see like a 42-inch TV just chilling right next to the dumpster. And I was thinking, there's no chance this thing is in good condition, right? There's no chance someone would just throw this away. But the curiosity was eating at me, guys. I got curious. I had to go bring it up, and I had to go plug it in just to make sure. Turns out the screen was absolutely shattered, so my suspicion was true. This thing was done for. There was no hope for it. But that kind of introduced me to the idea that some people throw things out that could still be useful to other people. Even though that time it wasn't true necessarily, I made a point to be on the lookout in the future when I'm taking the trash out. So time goes on. The next few months I'm still taking out the trash. I'm still keeping an eye out. Usually nothing is there, but it's worth the look. Then eventually summertime rolls around. It's about early June, I would estimate at this point. There's people that are ending their apartment lease, including us. We were moving out soon. I once again take down the trash, as I do. I go up to the speed bump. I'm about to launch the bag, full send, as one does. And I notice something again. This time, there's something sticking out of the dumpster that looks square-shaped, rather than a circular trash bag. And I had to go investigate, guys. You know how I do it. I go up there, I look, it's another TV, similar size. It's about 42 inch. And even though last time it didn't work out for me, I had to give it a go, guys. The moment of truth. You bring it up to the room, you plug it in, you see what you're working with. I plug it in. It is a 42-inch 1080p TV that does have a small crack about the size of a raisin, but the audio worked perfectly, the picture was nice. I plugged in my Fire Stick, everything was working smoothly. So I just acquired a Westinghouse WD-42 FB2680 for free. I know it does have a small crack, but I'm willing to overlook that considering the price was absolutely $0. I just swindled somebody. I don't know how someone would throw that away. It did have a small crack, but really doesn't make a difference in my mind. That was a great steal for me. That was one of the all-time budget acquisitions in my mind. At this point, I already had a healthy amount of TVs in my collection, so I decided to just put it under my bed for the time being, and I will probably utilize it later at some point, I had told myself. So it comes time to move out of our Iowa City apartment, and I get a place in North Liberty, move in, get settled in, and I plan on wall mounting this TV above my desk in the future. Middle of summer, my birthday rolls around. I get for my birthday a wall mount set up. So I was like, oh, wonderful. This advances me closer to my goal of wall mounting the TV above my desk. Excellent. We're on pace here. We're going to get this done eventually. And then I work at a credit union, and somehow, some way, my phone number was obtained by some person. They called me and wanted me to take a survey and give them feedback on something and just kind of go through a process to give them information. So I got an email from them, gave them some responses on their survey, and they gave me a $25 Amazon gift card. And I was like, my goodness, I would sign up and do that 20 times over if I got the opportunity. That's pretty rare. But I got the $25 to Amazon, went on there, bought a Fire Stick for $25 exactly, so it checks out. Now this weekend I finally had enough time to look into setting up this wall mount. Thankfully my roommates in North Liberty already have a great plethora of tools that I was able to use. Wall mounted the TV, the wall mount that I got for my birthday, plugged in the Fire Stick that I got using the $25 gift card free, and I equipped the TV that I found by the dumpster for absolutely free. So you know what that means, guys? That means I wall mounted a Westinghouse WD-42 FB2680 above my desk for $0. That is insane. That blows my mind. That is one of the all-time budget stories that I've had so far. If you guys think you have anything that tops that, let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'm in full support of balling on a budget. I think that budget shopping is a great lesson, a great skill you can have, and this is something I'm going to be once again trying to pursue in the future with other acquisitions as I go about my daily life. So those are the two quick things I wanted to share before we get into the episode. Now we're going to go ahead and dive in. We have the technology timeline today. Going to take you guys through a chronological overview of all the electronics, the technology, the gaming systems I've owned and purchased and used over the years. I thought it would be really cool if I shared all the possessions that I've gotten great value out of and see how things have advanced over the years, because man, I started from humble beginnings and to the point where I am right now. It's pretty crazy to look all the way through. So we're going to get it kicked off here with some of the most early technology related items that I remember ever owning and using. I was born in the year 1999, so there were no iPods, there were no iPhones, there were no iPads. It was not possible for me to be an iPad kid because iPads and iPods and the phones did not come out until I was about 8 years old. So to be considered an iPad kid, I guess I don't really know what the exact criteria is, but I don't think I fit the description for that. So when you're thinking about some of the earliest electronics you've had, for me, what comes to mind is my parents' computer that I used, and this was around the time of 2005. because obviously in the beginning of your life, you're still trying to figure out what life is before you're even able to comprehend what a technological device is. So 2005 is where the timeline is going to start for our purposes. I was using my parents' computer up in our office in our house, the room where my dad had his desk and my mom's had some of her paperwork and stuff. And we would go up there, and me and my brother would hop on sometimes and play some games that we had. Early 2000s, mid 2000s type of games. No online real experience at this point, but some offline fun was had for sure. Don't remember the exact model of the HP computer. Don't remember the exact specs, but it was pretty thick monitor, pretty thick PC tower. Not very fast, not very advanced, but you got to start somewhere, right? So that's where the legacy began for me. And then we had a breakthrough moving forward. Christmas 2005. Me and my brother got probably the greatest gift that we've ever had in terms of video games, in terms of technology, and that is the Nintendo Gamecube. This thing was legendary from the time we first got our hands on it all the way until now. Me and my brother have been consistently playing Gamecube every year for the last 17 years, and there is no plans on stopping that because the Nintendo Gamecube is the superior gaming console, and you either are smart enough to know that or you just don't want to admit it. So those are the two categories of people you could fall into. The GameCube had so many legendary games. It had so many legendary options that you could do. The offline gaming experience is really at its peak in the mid-2000s. This is before gaming systems could connect to the internet. And the focus was on offline gameplay. And I think that we really lost that in recent years because the recent gaming consoles pretty much rely on you having an internet connection, which can be fun, but also you want to have options to do offline too. And I think that that's no longer a focus in the gaming industry. But obviously me and my brother loved the GameCube for so many years, so many great games on there. I'm not going to go into details on specific video games we played. I think that'll be a different episode. I can go through the timeline of all the video games I've played, but we're going to try to keep this one to specifically the devices themselves. So Christmas 2005, GameCube, legendary gift, legendary Christmas it was. Then we move on. We look forward to our next device. And I think for what I remember, the next one after this for me was going to be the MP3 player that I got. It was a little blue rectangle that I received. I don't remember if it was probably my birthday if I had to guess, but I got an MP3 player, loaded up some songs on there, and there were some classics on there, man. There were some bangers for sure. Got some little headphones to go with it, and you know, I was listening, I was jamming out, and my 7-year-old self was having a great time. So MP3 player, next on the list. We move on from there. We're going to go over to the iPod Shuffle. You guys remember the iPod Shuffle? It's a little square-shaped iPod that had no screen. It was just a couple buttons. It was like forward, reverse, volume up, volume down, pause. And then it introduced the shuffle mechanic. Instead of going song by song through your playlist, it would choose a random order. Revolutionary at the time. We had a picture with me and a couple of my cousins that also got the iPod Shuffle, and we all held them up and had a fun picture, and that was a great memory for me. So that was the next step on my musical journey. Looking forward after that, I think the next device was probably the Gameboy Advance. I don't remember the exact timing on this. It was probably 2007, 2008 in that neighborhood. There are 3 games that specifically stick out in my mind when I think about the Game Boy that I had. First one would be Madden 2007 with Sean Alexander on the cover. That was a fun game to play on the Game Boy. I remember there was like a kicking challenge where you had to kick field goals from certain distances and you would get bonus points if it was like dead center. And I would always try to do that and get the highest score possible. And they also had Play Now and a few other modes, but absolute classic. Little handheld device, you could bring it anywhere. So much fun. Next game that I played for Game Boy Advance was a game called Dogs. And you pretty much just got to raise a dog and like go around and walk it and clean up after it and like take care of it. And kind of an interesting concept, but it was really fun at the time. I had a lot of experience on there. I knew all the different ways to level up and advance throughout the time of owning a dog, and it was really interesting. I don't know if I would play it again, but at the time I had a great time on it. The third game that I played on Game Boy was World Series of Poker. And as an 8-year-old, I didn't know a whole lot about poker, but I knew that there was one option that it always gave me to bet the farm, which means pretty much going all in. And me and one of my friends, whenever we would go up to the Wisconsin Dells, we would meet up with another family, and I would play it with him, and we'd always bet the farm and see if we could turn it into a bunch of money, and had a lot of great experiences playing my little World Series of Poker game on the Game Boy Advance. Guys, next device coming up was a game changer for me. That would be the iPod Touch. iPod Touch without the camera. I think this is either second generation or third generation. So many great games on there, man. So many apps you could download. This is the first device I ever had that could connect to the internet. So obviously that opened a lot of doors for me. I could probably do a whole rundown of like my top 10 favorite iPod Touch games. If you guys think that would be interesting, the classic iPod games from back in the late 2000s, I might put together a top 10 list of those. So many great memories from back then. But me and my brother both got that on the same Christmas. That'll probably be a recurring theme coming up through this episode. We had a lot of gifts that we were given at the same time, so me and him exploring the new technology together as we advanced through the years. One thing I specifically remember from the iPod Touch years, this was before I had a phone, you could download an app on the App Store that would give you an assigned phone number that you could text from. So it was like an app called Text Free or Free Messaging or something. You download it, it assigns you a phone number, and you could text people, and it would look like it was coming from a phone number, but it was really just your iPod Touch. And I got a lot of use out of that because some of my friends had phones before I did, but me using my little iPod Touch, going above and beyond, trying to find a loophole in the system, I was able to text on that bad boy. So, ton of fun on the iPod Touch. Next device up in the lineup also comes in the 2007-2008 time period. This is the Nintendo Wii. Nintendo Wii is an iconic gaming system. The motion-based gaming that it introduced was revolutionary, obviously. Creating Miis in the Mii channel, downloading community-created Miis. So many great memories, so many fun jokes that you could have by creating really crazy and random people and bringing them into the games and playing as them. Such a cool concept, and it opened a lot of opportunity for customization in gaming. I'll definitely go more in depth on some of the favorite Wii games I had when I do my video game timeline episode. Next device I remember getting after the Wii was my birthday. I believe it was 2009. I got a Canon digital camera. It was a blue camera. It could take pictures and it could take videos. This was very important at the time because my iPod did not have a camera. So I wanted to take pictures. I wanted to take videos. My parents got me a camera. And this is what really got me into my first YouTube channel. If you guys remember back in the day, I did have a YouTube channel in elementary school, early middle school days. The real OGs will remember the username of the YouTube channel. I'm not going to share it on here, but if you guys are curious, the videos are still up on YouTube, so you can send me a DM, you can text me, get a hold of me if you want to see those classic videos from back in the day. I will share them with you. But that Canon camera, man, plenty of great memories on there, plenty of videos were taken. I would attach it to my tripod and bring it around my house, taking random videos of me and my friends just goofing around. But that was the technology at the time. That's what you had. You had the digital cameras before iPhone became super mainstream and advanced. Following the Canon digital camera, we move into the 2010s decade. This is where things start to ramp up a little bit, guys. Christmas 2010, I believe it was, me and my brother got an Xbox 360 with the Kinect, which was our first online gaming system we got. and there was this game that came along with it called Kinect Adventures. And if you guys didn't know, the Xbox Kinect is like a motion capturing thing that has a camera so it can detect like where you're standing, where you're moving. The Kinect Adventures game, the thing I remember most about that is you're like standing up in a raft. And if you want to picture it like Subway Surfers, the game, except instead of like a train theme, it's like a rafting in the river theme. And you have to like step side to side to dodge barriers and collect things. And it was super cool at the time. And I think it still is cool now, but a lot of fun memories on there. Another thing I'll remember forever about the Xbox Kinect is my brother playing NCAA football on there. And I would always yell at the Kinect, audible QB spike. And it would listen to me and it would audible the play to a QB spike. And he would have no way to get out of it. He would have to snap it and run QB spike and lose the down and move on to the next play. So me doing some trolling, as I am known for, with the Xbox Kinect. Great memories, great time. Moving on. Christmas 2011. This was groundbreaking, guys. Another big step forward. I got my first ever cell phone. It was not an iPhone. It was the Pantech Ease is what it was called. It was a slide phone. You could slide it open, had the full keyboard, all the buttons, every letter of the alphabet on there, texting. And I honestly, looking back, I don't know how I was able to precisely press every button on that keyboard because they're so small back in the day. But man, that was the technology at the time. I was just happy to have a phone. I could text my friends without the need of a Wi-Fi connection. And I was able to take pictures on there, take videos, make calls, do everything. This was all I could ask for as a 6th grader. This was a great gift, and I got great use out of it. I don't know if you guys had this, but this was the time period where I would have my phone in one pocket, and I would have my iPod Touch in the other pocket. One of them was strictly for communication. One of them was strictly for gaming. And they were separate, but they both combined together to give me all the functionality that I needed. And every time I would go to a friend's place and we'd start running around, I'd have my phone and my iPod swinging around in my pockets. I'd have to empty it out and set it somewhere safe so I'd remember those two devices. Seems inconvenient looking back on it, but once again, guys, that was the era we were in. 2 separate devices that are now combined into one for our convenience. Going forward, after the phone, Christmas 2012, me and my brother, again, we got the same gift. It was an iPad mini. So I don't know if this is enough to consider me an iPad kid, if I got an iPad when I was 12. It seems like iPad kid, for me, makes me think of 10 and under, but I'll let you guys be the judge on that one. iPad mini was pretty cool. It was like everything that was offered in an iPod, but a huge screen. It had a camera, and it was faster and more advanced. And this was also pretty breakthrough for me because iPad having the App Store and having camera functionality, that means I was able to get Snapchat, I was able to get Instagram. I think I got those both on the day of Christmas 2012. So those were the first time I ever hopped onto Snapchat, hopped onto Instagram, started posting, started snapping my friends with the iPad mini back in the day. I remember it. I remember that Christmas pretty well. Great times. After the iPad in Christmas 2012, we move forward. We go to my birthday, 2013. This is when I got my first ever personal computer. It was a laptop, and for my close friends, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. This is the GOAT book, also known as the Fujitsu Lifebook T series. This is one of the best devices I've gotten. Not only was it a laptop that could connect to the internet, it had a swivel function where the screen could like swivel right and left, rotate all the way around and fold up into itself and like attach, so you could use it as a tablet if you wanted to. It also had a touch screen, and some of my friends make fun of me for it. Some of my close people make it a meme that the Fujitsu Lifebook T series could not hang with the best of the computers. But I'll tell you what, I did a lot of research in the day. I did a lot of YouTube videos trying to figure out the best way to optimize that computer for the best performance, and I was able to run Minecraft at 30 frames per second on the Fujitsu Lifebook T-Series laptop. So you can say what you want, you can make fun of me, but the Fujitsu Lifebook, also known as the GOAT book, has a special place in my heart. I still have that thing. Has some of my pictures and folders and storage on there. I'm never getting rid of that thing. That thing was legendary. Moving on. It's May 2014. I'm in 8th grade, just wrapping up middle school, about to go into high school. Me and my brother were both working as referees at Metro Youth Football Association, and we saved up our money and we bought ourselves a PlayStation 4. This was the next step in our gaming journey. This was a great device that brought us a lot of entertainment. Online connectivity mostly was the main attraction to the online gaming experience. We played Madden on there, we played 2K, a lot of Call of Duty, Rocket League back in the day. So many great games for the PS4. A lot of fun memories with friends on there all throughout high school until my senior year. I will get into that later, but PlayStation 4, great device, one of the best of its time. I have nothing bad to say about the PlayStation 4. Next up, my birthday, 2014, going into high school, I got my first iPhone. Man, was this a huge milestone acquisition. iPhone 5C. The C stands for color. I had a blue one. I love the color blue. Obviously, you guys know the What's Cookin' theme, the What's Cookin' logo, blue background. I love the color blue. I got the blue 5C iPhone. I no longer had to carry around the Pantech Ease slide phone and my iPod Touch. These two were pretty much combined into the 5C. So the functionality on there was legendary. A lot of great memories, a lot of fun games played, and I was also able to call and text and do all that good stuff. There's a picture I remember that shows how many devices it took to do all the things an iPhone can do, and they lay it out on the floor of their room. It's like a laptop and a video recorder and a digital camera and a watch and like 3 other things, all separate devices that do separate functions, and then it just changes to an iPhone sitting in the center of the room. The iPhone was the great equalizer. It made all other devices irrelevant. It brought death to so many previous outdated devices, and it moved us forward in the technological advancement of our time. So that was my birthday, 2014. I don't remember anything notable in 2015, so we have to jump all the way forward to my birthday, 2016, which is 2 years later. This is when I got a Fitbit, the digital watch that could track some of your steps, some of your activity, burned calories, all that good stuff. I loved doing step challenges with my family, and I would try to get bragging rights by going around getting the most activity, and you could track and compare with everybody, and that was super cool with my Fitbit. I no longer have that Fitbit, but it was a great addition to the arsenal at the time. Next up is spring 2017. I upgraded my iPhone from the 5C up to the 6S. This was a big step. There was a larger screen, there was more storage, there was a lot more improvements in just the system speed and everything. So a big step up, a big necessary. I think the average user of the iPhone probably gets like 2 or 3 years out of it, if I had to guess. So it was about time for me to upgrade. And the iPhone 6S was a great model, and it served me well for many years. Summer 2017. This is when I bought my first ever TV for myself. I wanted to get a TV specifically for playing video games because I think at the time we had some of the like thick CRT TVs, which are absolutely great for the outdated games like Gamecube and Wii and some of the older gen ones. But for PS4, you wanna have a HD TV. So I got myself an Insignia Roku 32-inch TV. And I had that for a long time, and it served me well. Next on the list is an upgrade to my previous Fitbit. I don't remember if this was my birthday 2017 or Christmas 2017. I think it was one of those two. But I got a Fitbit that had a bigger screen. It had more measurements. It had more functionality. and continued my fitness journey and comparing steps and activity with my family and friends. Great device, served me well through high school, and I have nothing bad to say about the Fitbit. Great technology. Moving on, fall 2017. This is when my brother was off to college and I was playing video games with friends in high school, and I got to notice that it seemed like more of my friends were on the Xbox One than the PS4. So I made the business decision to sell my PlayStation 4 and bought a used Xbox One. And I think that I was able to get the Xbox One for cheaper than what I sold the PS4 for. So I think I actually profited a little bit in that transaction, but I thought that was a great move. I had a lot more friends on Xbox. We had so many great times in the Xbox Live parties on the 360 and in the Xbox One. The conversations and the roasting and the competition that would go on in the Xbox Live parties was something you had to be there to witness. And I think there's YouTube videos of like some of the angriest Xbox Live party moments in like game chat and Call of Duty and all that stuff. But that was just the era we were in middle school, playing Call of Duty and getting super pissed off and angry, and a lot of jokes, a lot of controversial statements in the Xbox Live parties. But that was the time we were in. So moving on, I used that Xbox and TV that I acquired in 2017 all the way through senior year up until summer 2018, when it was time to graduate from high school and move off to college. I had my graduation party and got a lot of money from relatives and family friends and everything, so I put that money towards a new laptop. I know, guys, the Fujitsu Lifebook T-Series served me well for many years, but I needed a little more processing power. I needed a little more speed in college to handle the workload, so I decided to go out and purchase the Acer Aspire E5-575. I got that off of Amazon. It was a computer that had upgraded RAM from 8 gigs of RAM up to 16 gigs of RAM. It was upgraded, so Intel i7, and it also had 16 gigs of RAM. A lot more power on there, a lot smoother Minecraft experience, and it was able to handle the workload through college. And guys, this is actually still my current computer. The Acer Aspire E5-575, still serving me well until this day. That's 5 years and counting. I'm impressed, guys. This is a great computer. It's been durable. It's been reliable. I think about upgrading from time to time, but I think the Acer Aspire is getting me by just fine. At some point, I'll probably want to upgrade to a custom PC or a pre-built PC tower just to advance onward with more functionality and more speed and processing power and everything. But for the time being, we're still racking strong with the Acer, and it's getting me through all the tasks and all the computing that I need to do. I think next up was Christmas 2018, where I got a pair of Airpods. And you guys, Airpods, in my opinion, are one of the most impressive technological inventions of our time. You had so many problems with the old school earphones, with the wires getting tangled and getting caught and always getting screwed up somehow. Like, there was a need for a change, and Apple was ahead of the curve and they figured it out. The AirPods are so comfortable. They stay in your ear really well. Their audio is just insanely good for their size. I still have the original AirPods. I think they've come out with a couple different upgrades since then, but the standard AirPods, man, I still have them to this day. I wear them at work. I wear them whenever I want to listen to music on the go. Great invention. Apple, once again, ahead of the curve, inventing things that people always seem to like and get value from. Next up comes from a coworker, actually. I was using my Acer Aspire laptop by itself for a long time, maybe a year or so, and I think that worked out pretty well, but my coworker at Marriott offered to sell one of his TV/monitors. Could be used as a TV, could be used as a monitor. And it was a 24-inch 1080p monitor for $35, I believe it was. So I took them up on that offer, got the monitor, and I think it was a great purchase. I got a lot of use out of it and connected my computer to it sometimes, connected my Xbox to it sometimes. Whatever I felt like at the time, that's what I used it for. It was used by itself for a while until I believe it was around fall 2019. I went on Facebook Marketplace and I got another similar monitor, 24-inch. This one was for $50. So this gave me the first ever time in my life I had the dual monitor setup. And that was a big deal for me. I'd always watched gaming setup videos on YouTube, and so many people had the dual monitors going. So the first time I ever got that was fall 2019, and they weren't really beautiful monitors by any means. They were kind of clunky. They were different brands. It was kind of mix and match, but it's what I had the budget for, and it's what I chose to buy, and got a great use out of them. So dual monitors in 2019, great time to be alive. Moving forward, Christmas 2019. Me and my brother once again getting the same gift on the same Christmas, and this time it is the Apple Watch. Yes, that means my Fitbit has been replaced, and I think that there are advantages to both devices, Fitbit and Apple Watch. I think Apple Watch has a wider spread of functions, but I think Fitbit might excel a little more in specific step tracking. It puts more emphasis on the steps and the calories, whereas Apple Watch has a more general overview. So love them both. Apple Watch, still use it to this day. Activity challenges, closing the rings. You can use it as a walkie-talkie. That's pretty cool. You can see text messages and everything on there. Cool technology to use. Still have it with me right now. After the Apple Watch, we move forward to my birthday 2020. And this is when I upgraded my iPhone for the second time. Started out with a 5C, then I moved up to the 6S. This time I'm making a little bit bigger of a jump. I'm moving to the iPhone XS. That means there's no more home button on the iPhone, guys. Bye-bye home button. We're saving more space on the phone, more space for the screen. It is a much larger screen too. More storage, faster speeds, better camera, all that good stuff. And guys, this is still my phone until today, the iPhone XS. And actually, that's the phone that I use to record the podcast. That's what I'm speaking into right now, my iPhone XS. It can do pretty much anything I need it to do. At this point in time, I don't really have a burning desire to upgrade anytime soon, so hoping that it'll stay durable for me. Got it in my birthday of 2020, and we just passed my birthday of 2022, so it's been a little over 2 years now. Very durable so far, and I hope it'll last much longer for me. After this iPhone gift in the birthday of 2020, I move on and I go to spring 2021, where I started getting into Facebook Marketplace a little heavier now. I started looking around, I started looking for opportunities, good deals in technology, and the first great deal that I found in spring of 2021, it was a 46-inch 1080p Westinghouse TV, and I got it at the price of $35. That's pretty good in my opinion. I think that it could sell for a lot more than that. But the seller wanted it to be sold for $35, and I had no problem with that, so I acquired that bad boy, still using it in my room to this day. A little bit later, still looking around on Facebook Marketplace, summer 2021, I found pretty much the same TV, just a different brand. It was a 46-inch Sony 1080p TV. This time, instead of $35, guys, I had to shell out an extra $5. I got it for $40. Still a great deal in my opinion. We use that in the living room in my Iowa City apartment, and we still have it in my North Liberty place right now. So great value out of that bad boy. 2 great purchases on Facebook Marketplace. Got me into Facebook Marketplace with those purchases, and now I'm always looking out on there for similar deals. So moving on. I actually, after I got these 2 TVs, that also marks the end of a different piece of technology, which was the 32-inch Insignia Roku TV, which I previously got. my senior year, summer going into senior year of high school. Guys, I had so many TVs at this point, I had to offload one. It wasn't getting as much use as I wanted. I decided to go the route of non-smart TV plus Amazon Fire Stick instead of a smart TV built in. So I think that that's better because Fire Sticks let you have internet browsers, whereas the Roku TVs do not let you have an internet browser. So in my opinion, Fire Stick takes down Roku in a head-to-head matchup any day. Going forward to the fall of 2021, this is my senior year, fall, and I see on Facebook Marketplace an opportunity to upgrade my monitors. You guys remember I had the mismatched TVs that functioned as monitors. One I got from a coworker, one I got from Facebook Marketplace previously. I was looking to upgrade. I wanted better display. I wanted matching models, and I found a good deal. I got two AOC U2790VQ 4K monitors. These are 4K monitors. They have great display. The output on these boys are stunning. The videos you can watch, so cool to see 4K video compared to 1080p. I got these for $150 each, totaling $300 for the both of them. They sell on Amazon for about $200. So I saved about $50 each going this way. I think it was a great deal. I get a ton of use out of them. They're still my monitors to this day. I don't plan on changing them anytime soon. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get a super cheap fix. Sometimes you got to pay a little more, but I think that this purchase served a great use for me, and I have nothing bad to say about the AOC U2790VQ 4K monitors. Then we move to the fall of 2022, guys. We're almost catching up to current day here. Earlier this year in the fall, I bought a 47-inch 1080p TV, similar to the two I had acquired previously. This one was for $50, but it came with a wall mount, and I have not used it yet. I still have it sitting in storage, but I think in the future this will be wall mounted and it'll be used, and I got it at a good price. 47-inch 1080p plus a wall mount for $50 is a pretty great deal in my opinion. I have not seen anything like that bundle combined together, so I decided to snipe it. Not necessarily for current day, but looking forward into the future, this was a forward-thinking purchase. We'll see if I get any value out of it. I tested it out, it works great, so it's only a matter of time in my opinion. But guys, after this fall 22 purchase of the TV leads us to the story that I just mentioned at the beginning of the episode, which was the TV that I found while taking out the trash at my apartment, and I currently have it wall mounted in my room, and that is the latest technological acquisition I have made. That means we're up to current day. That means we are done with our timeline. I hope you guys enjoyed the overview of all the devices I've used over the years. It's really been a ton. I don't think I missed any. There might be a few small things that I used temporarily that I might have left out, but this is a pretty comprehensive list, and I think I got everything that was important on the list. So maybe this brought back a few memories for you guys. Maybe this unlocked forgotten memories you had from the past. I always like to go back through the timeline of technology to see where we started and compare with where we are now. And it's really interesting to me, and it makes me think, what is next? What will be my next acquisition? What will be my next technology upgrade? Who knows? I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I'm thankful to be in the generation where the technological advances are moving so rapidly, and I like to be up to date with all the information that's coming out. So if I get any other great purchases or cool budget acquisitions, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But that wraps up our timeline for today. So that means it's time to see what's cooking in each of the categories.
What's cooking in sports?
Tom Brady announced this offseason that he was going to retire. Then he changed his mind. He wants to unretire and play again. And now we're hearing that he's going to step away from the team for a little while to deal with a personal matter. Guys, this is concerning, man. I don't know if this is Giselle trying to convince Tom to come into retirement permanently. There's been memes on Twitter that this is about Brady trying to recruit Gronk to come back to the team, although I really think that that's unlikely. I hope everything's good with Tom and the family. We're hoping for the best. We want to see him out there. He makes football more entertaining, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one as we go forward. Hard Knocks, the football show that covers a certain NFL team every year, is at the Detroit Lions right now, and they're getting some great content for us. We saw a clip of Aiden Hutchinson singing in the team room in front of the entire team. My man was singing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. He was so into it. He was so dedicated. By the end of the song, he had everybody singing along with him. He was dancing. Super hilarious clip. You guys got to look it up on Twitter. Aiden Hutchinson, the rookie defensive end, making a big statement in the locker room and on the field. I expect big things from him. He's a high motor guy, obviously, good sense of humor, and I hope he can help Lions turn things around this year. This one kind of frustrated me, but it also was impressive. The Chiefs safety, Justin Reed, is out here hitting 65-yard field goals in practice. And usually when this sort of stuff happens, we look at the video and it's an out-of-position player getting like a 10-step run-up, like a kickoff to get that much distance. But no, Justin Reed literally had the standard 2-step approach that kickers take for field goals in the NFL. He bombed a 65-yarder in practice. Then, in their preseason game, they let him go kick an extra point, and he hit it dead center. That's pretty impressive. You got to consider putting him on the kickoff team because he's going to be a lot better tackling than Harrison Butker, their original kicker. That's a huge advantage if you're able to do that. Get an extra defender out there on the kickoffs. Chiefs have a secret weapon that they just revealed to the rest of the league, so watch out. Zach Wilson, Jets quarterback, injured his knee. We heard that he probably needs surgery, but he could be back soon. And this is kind of against everything that we're used to because we hear knee injury, we hear requires surgery, we start immediately thinking ACL out for the year. But this is strange because we heard knee injury, needs surgery, but then it turns out it was just a bone bruise or a meniscus tear. And apparently, this is something he can recover in 2 to 4 weeks from. So the Jets avoiding the worst case scenario there. Sounds like he'll be back early in the season. They need him, man. The Jets, this is going to be a big year for Zach Wilson. With all the QBs that are young in this league, making an impact early on, Zach Wilson's going to have to step up soon and show the Jets what he's made of. We also got to see the Titans quarterback draft selection, Malik Willis. My man was looking good out there, I'll tell you what. I watched some highlights. This dude is big and fast. He reminds me of a cross between a Lamar Jackson and a Jamarcus Russell. Because my man was moving around, he was throwing on the run, but he's also big. He's bigger than Lamar. He's strong, he's physical, and I think that if he can really get the decision-making that's required for that position down, if he can get the timing with the receivers down, he might be able to take over for Tannehill in the next couple of years. Good start for him, but obviously a long way to go. To play quarterback in the NFL is not an easy task, but he's off to a good start. NBA. The NBA schedule has slightly been released, at least a couple key games. We learned that the opening night game will be Lakers at Warriors. So that's going to be LeBron versus Steph Curry. And it's going to be the ring ceremony. So that means LeBron and the Lakers are going to stand there and watch as the rings are presented to the Golden State Warriors. That's going to be interesting. LeBron's going to be hungry. Lakers didn't even make the playoffs last year, so can't wait to see that. NBA Christmas schedule has been released. Usually some of the most anticipated matchups are featured on Christmas Day. We have the Bucks at Celtics, Sixers at Knicks, Grizzlies at Warriors, Lakers at Mavericks, and Suns at Nuggets. Obviously, Bucks and Celtics, two very talented teams that met in the playoffs. Grizzlies, Warriors, a Western Conference showdown. Very talented there. Lakers, Mavs, Luka versus LeBron. Who wouldn't want to watch that? Suns, Nuggets. You got Devin Booker, CP3 versus Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. and company. But then you got Sixers and Knicks. And this one's kind of got people confused. We would have expected the Nets to be shown on Christmas. Maybe this is the NBA's way of thinking that Kyrie and KD might be moving on. Who knows, man? But Sixers at Knicks is a little bit of a head scratcher on Christmas. That might be the time that we tune out and we go to the dinner table and we go grab our food and talk with the family and then reconvene to watch some NBA after that game has concluded.
What's cooking in finance?
Starting to see some more positive news in the stock market. The S&P 500 slowly recovering. We're up almost 3% over the last week, and we're up over 10% in the last month. Starting to get a little bit more momentum in here. Starting to recover from some of the June lows that we saw. But if we look overseas, we're also seeing some concerning signs as well. The real estate homies out there are going to like this one. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can, but no guarantees this is all 100% accurate, but from the research I've done, this is what I've seen. China is having a very serious real estate problem. The last few years in China, people have been buying real estate as investments rather than actual places to live. Obviously, some people have been buying in real estate as a place to live, but you have a lot of people who see the real estate prices increasing year over year, and they just buy houses as a pure investment to try to get returns on their money. So you have people buying houses and not really living in them, but more of just like waiting and then selling. So this is really causing a shortage of supply because you have people competing to buy houses. Some of them actually want to live there. Some of them are just for the investment. So this is a contributing factor to some of the shortages, and it's increasing demand. So what this causes is property values to rise because demand is high. You got a lot of people that want to buy these properties, so people are going to crank up the prices on you. It's gotten to the point where this has accelerated so much that some of the developers for the real estate in China are pre-selling these properties, and they're making people pay mortgages on real estate that hasn't even been built yet. Just in order to get their name on the list for a certain property, you have to start paying payments. That's pretty risky in my opinion. I would not want to be paying for something that hasn't been built yet. This is starting to cause a little bit of a ripple effect. We have the developers who are earning these payments on real estate that hasn't even been built yet. And then what they do is they take these payments and spend them on completing past projects that are yet to be completed. So this is obviously a red flag. You don't want to have this sort of activity going on. Kind of sketchy. Anytime you have people trying to bring in money and then you have to immediately redirect the money to something in the past to pay off, that's when you know that that's not very trustworthy. So these large developers are starting to rack up a bunch of debt by doing this. Home buyers are starting to refuse to make mortgage payments, and this is all snowballing into a large conflict. And people think that this could have big consequences in the months to come. Who knows what it'll do to the American stock market if somehow we are tied up in relations with China. This could very well affect us, so we'll have to keep an eye on the situation as always, hoping for the best, but not sounding very good overseas with a real estate going on in China.
What's cooking in technology?
Holy smokes, guys. We have an update. If you guys remember listening to episode 2, I was talking about the Cedar Rapids Community School District. They were hit with a cyber attack. Networks were down. Sensitive information was released. It was not looking good. They were trying to gather more information before making an official statement. But now we do have an update. The Cedar Rapids School District paid a ransom in hopes of keeping personal data compromised in the cyber attack from being released. Man, they caved in. They really had no choice. We have a quote from the superintendent of the district. which reads, "As a part of the process to resolve this matter, CRCSD made payment to a third-party entity to ensure critical information that may have been accessed was not released. We made this decision after consulting closely with cybersecurity experts and legal counsel and determining it was in the best interest of our school community." The letter from the district did not mention the amount of ransom that was paid, and it also did not provide the name of the group that was responsible for this attack. That's not good, guys. You don't want to encourage this kind of behavior. When worse comes to worse, I suppose if that's the last case scenario, you can pay the ransom to ensure that data is not leaked, but you really, really want to do everything you can to avoid this step. Must have been a last-ditch effort. What you're doing when you pay these ransom payments to the hackers and the cyber attackers, the message you're sending is that this earns money. And if you're able to do this successfully, you can make a living by earning these ransom payments. We do not want this to happen. So I hope that we find some sort of solution. But what we've found that was interesting is there's this guy named Aaron Warner, who's the founder and CEO of a company called ProCircular, which is a computer security service in Coralville. He was saying that schools are easy targets for these kind of cyber attacks because they are some of the least prepared for an attack. Schools do not have funding to make significant improvements in cybersecurity, which makes them very vulnerable to attacks. That tells me the district needs to do some more research on a way to get funding for cybersecurity efforts. We need to raise money for this. In this day and age, data is very important. We need to be able to protect it. It's the security of the information of the employees and the kids and the students. I heard that there were social security numbers leaked during this and other sensitive information, so there needs to be a considerable amount of thought and effort put into this. We need to find ways to fund cybersecurity efforts, and big changes need to be made. We need to learn our lesson from this. Other cyber attackers might see this and take it as a sign to attack more schools, so we need to jump on this, get ahead of it while we can.
What's cooking in video games?
Not a whole lot to report this week on video games, but I do have one interesting little nugget of information. There is an upcoming video game that has gotten a ton of attention on social media and Twitter, of course. The game is called Squirrel with a Gun. You run around playing as a squirrel, holding a gun. You can rob people, you can run around and do other random stuff. There was a clip on Twitter of the squirrel jumping up in the air, aiming the gun down and shooting it at the floor. The gun has so much recoil and the squirrel is so light that the gun propels the squirrel upward into the air as it's shooting, and this lets you get to higher places and unlock new areas and whatever. Man, I don't know how people come up with these ideas, dude. Like, what in the world is this? Obviously, this is gonna be a joke among a ton of people when this game actually does release. It's still in development right now, I think, but stuff like this is what the internet loves. People love random, strange, confusing content and games that make no sense. So I expect this to get a ton of attention. It's probably going to be spreading on the gaming websites and on the social media websites when it actually gets released. But if you're curious, just look up Squirrel with a Gun on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. You should be able to find some random clips. It's just, the internet thrives on community involvement and strange activity and funny jokes like this. So that's the perfect recipe, in my opinion, for a successful meme-ified game. There you have it. That will conclude episode 4 of the What's Cooking podcast, the timeline of my technology. Hope you guys enjoyed getting to know some of the devices I've used and acquired over the years. There will definitely be plenty more to come. I think next week we will have our first guest episode. That's what we're planning on. I'm going to have to confirm with our guest, but I'm very much looking forward to speaking with another person rather than talking by myself. So that will add a new element to the conversation that will bring about some new discussion. And we're very much looking forward to having our first guest on the What's Cooking podcast. Remember to follow me on social media at what's_cooking. Let your friends know about the pod if you think they would be interested in listening to me talk about sports, technology, finance, and video games. We will see you next week. See ya!